know that climate change is making you unhealthy day by day? Yes, it indeed is. And this exactly has been observed by the World Meteorological Organization in its State for Climate Services Report 2023. Hello and welcome everyone to the Environment Primer series of Drishti IAS. My name is Pragya and today we are going to study this State of Climate Services Report of 2023 published by the WMO. In this discussion, we will firstly see the background of our today's topic. Then we are also going to see the key highlights of this report. Then we are also going to analyze the recommendations given by this report. We are also going to study about the WMO, and in the end we are going to see a practice question for your prelims examination and a practice question for your mains examination. So if I talk about the background of our today's topic. So recently the WMO has released its State of Climate Services Health Report of 2023, and as you can figure it out by the title itself, the report this year has specific focus on health. That means the climate change impacts on human health. In fact, this report this year highlights the need for tailored climate information and services to support the health sector in the face of more extreme weather and poor air quality, etc. Not only this, there is an increase of infectious diseases. We have already analyzed the threat of invasive species on the natural species. So all of our ecosystem is being impacted due to climate change. The plants, the humans, etc. and human health is declining due to climate change. In fact, this issue is so pertinent that the countries have specifically paid attention to this issue in their nationally determined contributions in compliance of the Paris Agreement. So the countries throughout the globe have also felt the need that yes, we need to protect our people from the worst impacts of the climate change, and definitely climate change is deteriorating the health of our people. Now let us analyze the key highlights of this report. Okay. So the average global temperature is rising and we all know that it is rising. Okay. So this rise in the average global temperature has brought human health on the front line. Climate change threatens to reverse decades of progress towards better health and well-being, particularly in the most vulnerable communities. So these most vulnerable communities are lacking the capacity to quickly adapt themselves to the climate change, and that is why they are more directly or indirectly impacted by the climate change. If you talk about countries like Africa, okay, they are the least contributors to the greenhouse gas emissions, but yet Africa has seen more deaths this year due to the extreme heat wave. So all of this is happening because of climate change, and definitely it is impacting the human health, as has been highlighted in this State of Climate Services Report of 2023. The report focuses on health and has highlighted that the health sector is not well prepared to protect people from the impact of extreme weather events caused by the climate change. So definitely this report has pointed out a gap between climate services, climate information and the health related services. Okay, it is specifically saying that the countries are not assessing the climate data to analyze the impact of climate change on the health of their people. Moving forward, there is a need for better financing for tackling air pollution. So air pollution is a global killer. Air pollution is not just specific to India. It is killing people globally. And you will be shocked to know that although there is a need for tackling funds for tackling air pollution, but only 2% of the Global Climate Fund is dedicated to fight air pollution. We'll discuss what this Global Climate Fund in our another lecture. But yes, this is a shocking figure that only 2% of this Global Climate Fund is, dedicated towards tackling air pollution, though air pollution is a global killer. Okay. Although data is provided by the National Meteorological and Hydrological Services, but this data is highly underutilized. You will be shocked to know that 74% of the ministries in countries do not have effective utilization of this health related data given by the National Meteorological and Hydrological Organizations. In fact, 25% of the countries, 25% of the countries and the Ministry of Health in those countries do not have any collaboration with this data. They do not know about this data. They are not effectively implementing this data, and hence it increases the health impacts of the climate change. There is a lack of tailored data services for the health sector, and most nations do not have formal agreements between health ministries and meteorological services for data sharing. And this is definitely hampering the mitigation efforts towards climate change. This is definitely hampering the effort that is required to mitigate the health impacts of the climate change, because this data is not shared. It is underutilized in most of the countries. 74% of the countries do not have effective means to utilize this data. 5% of the countries do not even have a formal agreement with within the Ministry of Health and the meteorological organizations to make effective use of the data. Okay, so this in turn is hampering the climate change actions by the countries towards health of the people. Moving forward, there is a huge gap in research and knowledge related to health related impacts of climate. How many of the countries do you think have local data about their own country in which the climate change can directly be attributed to the health impacts? They do not have it, and this has been pointed out in this report. So there is a lack of institutional and country based contributions. There is a lack of data sharing, there is a lack of technical know-how, there is a lack of R&D. So everywhere it is lacking, and this report highlights the same. Okay, only a small percentage of health ministries have surveillance systems that use meteorological information to monitor climate related health risks. So this is what I am explaining to you also, that yes, the countries lack proper surveillance systems and the and effective tools to analyze the impacts of climate change on the health of their people. Okay, there is a need for collaborative solutions for the health. Collaborations between whom? The health ministries and the meteorological organizations in their countries. Do let me know that what surveillance measures India follows to monitor the climate change impact, to monitor the climate change impact on health of the Indian people. Okay, so do let me know in the comment box below. So the report highlights that yes, there is a need for collaboration based solutions. The ministries and the national or the meteorological organizations should come together to analyze the data about disasters, data about floodings, data about droughts, etc., to analyze the health of the people. Not only this, there should be a dedicated data for infectious diseases as well. In fact, the food security is also suffering. Food security is also suffering due to the extreme weather events of droughts and floods. Okay, so these extreme weather events such as the droughts and floods is being caused by the climate change, and definitely if we'll have data, we'll have better prevention of human related impacts of the climate change. So this is what the report seeks to highlight. Moving forward, strengthening partnerships can ensure that the health sector receives the support it needs to combat the growing challenges posed by the climate change. How many of the countries do you think have appropriate health related infrastructure for dealing with the impacts of climate change? I don't think so. There are many countries who have this specific health related infrastructure. So this is what we need to focus upon. We need to address that yes, these partnerships between the health ministries and the local meteorological organizations should be strengthened. Okay. There is also a lack of early disaster warning coverage systems. So most of the countries do not have a early warning coverage system of any disaster, and this increases the mortality rate by 8%. That means 8% people more are dying in those countries which do not have any early warning systems of disaster compared to those countries who can predict the disaster early. Okay, let me know some of the Indian early warning systems in the comment box below. Okay. Between 2000 and 2019, estimated death due to heat waves were approximately 4,89,000 per year, with a particularly high burden in Asia and Europe. So, heat waves have been in focus throughout the year, not only in India but also globally. The heat waves are increasing and many people are dying, and this is where I gave you the example of Africa as well. Though Africa is a lower contributor of the greenhouse gas emissions, but definitely that country is facing the worst impacts of climate change. Heat waves are increasing. Heat waves were a problem in India this year also. So the countries need to focus upon the ill impacts of heat waves, etc. They need to have efficient systems to tackle with the extreme weather events such as the heat waves. Okay. Then in 2012 to 2021, 29% more global land area was affected by extreme drought for at least 1 month per year than in 1951 to 1960. And if you talk about the upcoming 2030, so by 2030, these disasters, like there will be 560 times or 560 more disasters, medium and large scales, okay, in the throughout the globe. So definitely it is increasing the frequency of this extreme weather events such as floods, such as droughts, such as infectious diseases, such as heat waves. So all of these disasters will increase due to the climate change, and that is why we need to pay more attention towards mitigation strategies and by focusing upon the human health, because it is clearly deteriorating due to the climate change. The 2023 El Nino is expected to worsen extreme weather events and increase temperatures, posing severe health risks to vulnerable populations. So, we have discussed in our environment primer series also that why 2023 is known as the heat year of the decade. Okay, because the heat waves have risen and it is being caused by the El Nino effect. So, the report tries to analyze that how countries are prepared to tackle with these extreme weather change events caused by the climate change, and it is definitely signaling the countries that yes, be more prepared, take care of the health, be more prepared in health infrastructure. Okay, because these events are clearly going to rise due to the climate change, and that is why the countries at the global levels are discussing the major sources of the greenhouse gas emissions. They are trying to achieve their net zero target of emissions as soon as possible. They are also talking about carbon capture and storage. They are also talking about the carbon dioxide removal from the atmosphere, and all of these we have been discussing in our environment primer series. So you can watch the lectures and understand that how climate change is here. Like, it is not something which is going to happen in the future. It is actually here, and we are already suffering from the worst impact of the climate change. Okay, now let us see and analyze what has been the recommendations by this WMO report. Okay, so first recommendation is need for tailored climate information and services, which is lacking in most of the countries. So definitely you need to have local data regarding the climate change. You have to have early warning disaster systems. Then you also need to have a proper health information system and health related data of impact of climate change. You need to improve your health infrastructure also, and you need to utilize the data that is given by the meteorological organization. Okay, then there is development of local in countries capabilities. So definitely you need to have more infrastructure, you need to have more policies, more in-country policies to deal with the health impacts of the climate change. Then creating policy mandates. So this is what I was explaining to you before, that countries require policy mandates to fight with the health impacts of the climate change as well as the climate change, not only internationally but nationally as well. Okay, raising awareness about the importance of climate information. So this is very important if you want to save the vulnerable communities from the climate change, because they are unaware about the disaster risk, they are completely unaware about the climate change impact on their health. So definitely you need to raise awareness about the health related impact of the climate change. You need to raise awareness about the data prediction systems. You need to have local centers dedicated to the early warning systems of disaster, and you need to process the local data so as to enhance your capabilities in fighting this health related climate change impacts. So these were the recommendations by these report. Okay, now let us understand what is this World Meteorological Organization that has published this report. So WMO is an intergovernmental organization and a specialized agency of the United Nations. So it has succeeded the IMO, or the International Meteorological Organization, that was established in 1873 at the Vienna Meteorological Congress. Okay, so Vienna Meteorological Congress established this IMO, and this WMO has succeeded the IMO. Okay, it has 193 members. Do let me know in the comment box below that whether India is a member of WMO or not. Okay, and its objective is that it is dedicated to international cooperation and coordination on Earth's atmosphere. Not only this, it also talks about how Earth's atmosphere is reacting to climate change, is reacting to weather related events, is reacting to other such scenarios. So everything is being seen through the WMO, and its objective is to provide information related to the Earth's atmosphere and its behavior towards certain weather events. Okay, so this is the key objective of the WMO, and the WMO is also responsible for publishing some other reports, such as the Global Climate Report also is being published by the WMO. So this is a very important specialized UN agency that is helping the countries in predicting the climate change impacts, as well as the making them realize that yes, the key areas they need to focus upon as the climate change is impacting those key areas. Okay, so this is a very important specialized UN agency. With this, we come to a conclusion of our today's discussion. Okay, we have seen that what is the State of Climate Services Health Report 2023 that has been published by the WMO. We have also analyzed the key highlights of the report. We have also seen the recommendations by the report, and we have also seen that what is the World Meteorological Organization. So all of this which I have discussed today can be a fodder point for your mains examination. So kindly remember the points and kindly elaborate the points also, that as I have elaborated in my discussion today. So what we can conclude, that yes, there has to be a nexus between climate change and health impacts. Countries need to focus more on the health impacts of the climate change. They need to be more aware, more well prepared to tackle with the health impacts of the climate change. So there definitely has to be a nexus between climate change and health, so as to better prepare the mitigation strategies of the climate change. Okay, now let us discuss a practice question for your prelims examination. So the question is, consider the following statements. Your statement number 1 is WMO is a specialized UN agency. Your statement number 2 is India is a member of WMO, and your statement number 3 is State of the Global Climate Report is also published by the WMO. Which of the following statements given above are correct? Your options are: option A is 1 only, option B is 1 and 2 only, option C is 2 and 3 only, and option D is 1, 2 and 3. Kindly drop your answers in the comment box below. Now let us analyze a practice question for your mains examination. So the question is, describe the key highlights of the State of the Climate Report 2023. So firstly, you will write what is this State of Climate Services Report 2023, the organization which publishes it. Then you will write the key highlights of this report in 2023, as I have discussed in my discussion today. Then you can conclude that yes, there has to be a nexus between climate change and health. Countries need to be more aware. They need to focus on the ill impacts of the climate change on the health, and definitely they need to increase their mitigation efforts towards the climate change impacts. Okay, so you can conclude very holistically. I hope this session was insightful for you. If you have any feedback regarding this session, you can drop it in the comment box below. If you liked the today's discussion and found it to be helpful, kindly like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such updates. Thank you.